Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Well, we're back. I don't know if we're well rested after a week off, but we are back. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Hope you had a good week away from us. Actually, what we hope is that you actually listen to all the episodes that you haven't listened to yet.
That's right. Caught up on the episodes because you missed us so much. You wanted to hear our voices.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Exactly. You can find us on social media, Sibling Rivalry BB, without the A, on Twitter.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
On our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. And as always, you can take a look at our Fanatics links and go get yourself some new gear. Any kind of gear, even if it's women's World Cup gear.
Or the Tour de France Tour de France, Tour de France. Anyway, it just
you
wrapped
say
up.
France, I say France.
Yeah.
Let's call the whole thing off.
It just wrapped up, so you can find your favorite team hats there.
Can you? Really?
You can. Yes, you can.
Okay. I didn't even know about that. Can you get different things from your favorite tennis player? Wimbledon wasn't so long ago.
No, I didn't see anything for Wimbledon.
What about golfers? Is there golf
Probably,
stuff?
maybe. I don't know.
Get yourself a John Daly t-shirt.
Yeah.
A Jordan Spieth shirt. I don't know if they have that stuff. Anyway, lots has gone on since last we spoke, so we'll talk about that this week. We got the trade deadline is working towards us, and actually this will be the last episode before the trade deadline. So there'll be a lot to look forward as far as potential trades or no trades at all. But before we get to this episode, we're going to have to take a little trip to New York. Not the city.
Now we got to go north to a little place called Cooperstown.
Okay. Why?
It's where the Hall of Fame is.
Of course. And this last weekend, they inducted the newest members. Before this weekend, there were 268 official players in the Hall of Fame. All total, 340 total Hall of Famers, not including the players. But now there's 270 players in the Hall of Fame, and it went up to 342. So obviously I didn't catch all those other people who were also inducted in for various reasons. But yeah, this weekend, two new Hall of Famers, Fred McGriff, who was voted in via the Veterans Committee, and Scott Rowland, who made it on his 6th year on the ballot, finally got the 75% plus threshold and found his way into the Hall. Scott Rowland will go in as a Cardinal, whereas Fred McGriff will have a blank cap.
Yeah.
He said, it's not fair. I played for so many different teams, including world champion 1995 world champion Atlanta Braves. He was part of that, played in Tampa Bay, his hometown, for a while, and a few other teams, Cubs, Padres, was a Dodger even.
Yep, a Blue Jay.
And a Blue Jay. So 6 teams over his career. Nothing. And I didn't realize how common it is that teams go or players go in with nothing on their hats.
Yeah.
It's a third of all players are teamless.
Really?
Blank caps.
Huh. I just figured they probably maybe either usually, you pick whether you've been there the longest or maybe your favorite team that you played for.
Maybe that, or there was always the talk that, here's one, until when Albert Pujols was signed by the Angels, no Angel had been elected to the Hall of Fame and worn the Angels cap. And then of course Vladimir Guerrero Sr. changed all that. But the word was that this big contract and then the 10-year services contract that Albert had afterwards was to pay him to be an Angel when he went into the Hall of Fame. Now that's rumor. We don't know that to be fact, but it does sound like something that Artie would do.
Yeah, no, when you say it, it sounds totally legit.
If he goes in, if Pujols goes in on anything other than a Cardinal, I'm going to boycott Albert Pujols.
Yeah, I can't see him going in otherwise.
He was a Cardinal through and through, and that was where his best years were. Anyway, and Scott Rowland really spent more time with the Phillies, the team that drafted him, than he did with the Cardinals, but he did win a World Series with the Cardinals. And, both of them, I never really even thought about Scott Rowland. McGriff, I knew. I watched McGriff play a lot more than I did Scott Rowland play. But when you start looking at just stats alone, Scott Rowland really did have a good case to make it.
Yeah, he did. He also won 3 of his 8 Golden Gloves with St. Louis. And, of course, you mentioned the World Series. So 17 seasons in the MLB.
Yep, he was a 7-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year. 8 times, as you would say, Golden Glove winner.
That's right.
Oddly enough, played his very first game when he came up with the Phillies versus St. Louis. Played his very last game while he was playing with the Reds versus
St. Louis.
Yep, exactly. Fred McGriff, he was elected in by the Contemporary Baseball Era Players Committee. Was a 5-time All-Star MVP in 92. We talked about all the teams he played. Drafted by the Yanks, debuted in 1986. His last game was with Tampa in 2004. Congratulations to those guys making it into the Hall of Fame. Now, next year, there are a few different guys going into the Hall of Fame, or not going in, but will be on the ballot next year. And the question is always, who will be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Will there be any? And so that's always going to be the question. Of the new guys that are joining the ballot next season, you've got Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, catcher from the Twins for most of his career, Chase Utley, David Wright, longtime third baseman for the Mets, Matt Holliday, who was a 7-time All-Star. He'll be on there. Adrian Gonzalez, who had a decent career, probably not a Hall of Fame career.
Right.
But decent career, played with Boston and the Dodgers, also San Diego, the Padres. Jose Bautista, Jose Reyes, Victor Martinez. Those are some of the notables. And, of course, a shoe-in, I think, for first time in, Bartolo Colon.
Oh, yeah. I could see maybe him. Nobody else. I don't know that any will hit the threshold on the
only Angels pitcher to ever win a Cy Young award, Bartolo Colon.
Yeah.
I don't see him getting in.
No, I don't either. There were other inductees. Just real quick, Carl Erskine was inducted. The Buck O'Neill Lifetime Achievement Award. John Lowe received the Baseball Writers Association of America Career Excellence Award, and Pat Hughes received the 2023 Ford C. Frick Award, and he's been the longtime announcer for the Chicago Cubs, I think, on the radio. So
Carl Erskine, of course, was a pitcher for a long time, and the Buck O'Neill award is given to those who are like ambassadors of the game.
Yeah.
And he's truly has been one. So they're all in there. Any thoughts about the current class? Any thoughts about, you've got those guys that I just mentioned all joining the list. Todd Helton, who's been, questioned as to whether he's going to get in. He keeps inching up, but he's almost at the end of his time on the list. Actually, I'm sorry, he's only in his 6th year. Billy Wagner is one that is getting up there, 9th year. Are these guys, Todd Helton was at 72% last year, so chances are he's going to push over unless somebody from this new class takes up his vote.
Right, some of his votes. Yeah. I guess he would probably be maybe the only one. I don't know. This sometimes depends on the year and the class. Sometimes they're like, and other times they're like, oh yeah, these two guys definitely. But I don't know. This
All right.
one,
I think Adrian Beltre will be a first ballot.
really? Okay. Well, I could see that.
The rest of them of the new ones will be there.
Yeah.
I do think that Todd Helton's got a good shot, as does Billy Wagner. And Billy Wagner, as a reliever, has really good numbers that puts him up there with some of the best. So the question, I think, lies more is Andrew Jones. Will he, push over? He's still got a couple more years after this, so it'll depend on if he goes up or down, if he's going to end up making it by his 10th year in. And then Gary Sheffield falls off after this year. I don't anticipate him getting in.
Me either.
I would say that Carlos Beltran, as much as I don't think he belongs in there, will probably find his way in, because he's only in his 2nd year and he's already at about 50% of the vote. So
yeah,
he's got a lot of time to build that up. So, voting starts later, and everybody's in. Their ballots have to be in by the end of the year. And then after the beginning of the year, they announce all the winners after the veterans committees or different committees that are meeting, because not all the committees meet every year.
Right. Yeah. I did think it was funny during the ceremony. I think it was Fred McGriff. His wife had said afterwards that his friends had all placed bets to see if he was going to cry or not. So none of them won. He got a little choked up, but he didn't. They expected him to let it all out. And so I don't know what the bet was, though. Like, what was the wager? But they lost.
So what did Fred win?
I know.
Nothing, because he wasn't in on the bet, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was just his friends. They all pulled together. Well, he wins being in the Hall of Fame.
Heading into the All-Star break, we had one question when it came to the Angels. What is going on? They lost 9 out of 10 on their way in. They come out of the All-Star break, and everybody, of course, now we're like 3 weeks away at that point from the trade deadline. Will the Angels continue to play poorly, or will they make a push and really start picking it up? They were already kind of in the hole when they came back out of the All-Star break. They did get Matt Moore and Zach Neto back off of there, but then they ended up putting Anthony Rendon, no surprise, back on. Now I'll give him this. He hit the foul ball off of his leg, and we found out later that he has a deep bone bruise and even bleeding.
More serious than I think originally thought.
So, no telling what's going to be going on with him. They thought he was ready, but it just wasn't. He wanted to ramp up. He wanted to go. So they say. Phil Nevin has been defending him because people were kind of laughing at him because he was laughing and joking, and Shohei was like focused, and Shohei left him hanging on a fist bump. Shohei never looked at him. He was just so focused on at bat, at pitching, and all that stuff that he just didn't even notice. But it looked like he was just sitting there. Rendon was just sitting in the dugout, laughing and joking, having a good time, while the Angels are getting beat.
Well,
And
Shohei doesn't have time for that.
he doesn't.
He's on a mission.
So a lot of things were going on. Everybody, every expert says, sell, trade him, trade it. You guys aren't going to make it anywhere. So the Angels come out, and a great series to come out to. Actually, the first two series, great series to come out to if you want to prove yourself. And that is two teams that are above them in the wild card race, Houston and the Yankees. So, just to go through, we had 3 series this week since we were off last week. Just highlights. The highlight game was the middle game, where I even went on and I could just see it. They just seemed defeated as I was watching the game. Tweeted from our SRBB account that they just looked defeated. They'll be out of it by the time Mike Trout gets back.
Well, and I think a lot of that had to do with Davinsky. What's his? Chris Davinsky, his first name, who gave up, 5 hits, 5 runs, 6 walks, 6, and a home run. So anybody would feel that way.
And they did. They just looked beaten. And then, out of nowhere, they came back in innings and walked off a 13-12 win over the Asterix. Of course, the disappointment of the whole series happened the next day when they were at one point leading 7-3, and then in the 7th inning gave up 6 runs over the final 2 innings. And the bullpen just dropped the ball on that one completely. 2 runs. Webb gave up 2 runs. Estevez gave up 2 runs. And Berea gave up 4 runs over the last part of the game. And it just got away. And so they end up dropping 2 of the 3 to Houston. They looked okay, though. It didn't seem like the sky was falling yet. It would depend on what happened with the Yankees. And honestly, over these 3 series, the Yankee series is the best series for the Angels, as they do something they haven't done since 2009. They sweep.
Yeah, they got the brooms out.
Yeah, and the other thing that was really good, overall, 3 great pitching performances. Griffin Canning went the least amount of time in game 1, only 5 2/3, but he struck out 12. And they end up winning that with a walk-off in the 10th. Once again, Shohei 1 hit shy of a cycle. Is that like almost every game? It seems like he's just 1 hit shy.
There's a
of
chart.
cycle.
Yeah, there's a chart out there that's on the line that is got every time. It's like his face, and it's like single, double, triple, and a blank, and it's, or, whatever he needs. And it's crazy. It's a long list that keeps getting added to.
Game after game, he's doing that. For the Yankees, Luis Severino actually looked pretty good, and he's had his issues throughout the year. Now, the Angels end up catching the Yankees at the right time.
Definitely.
Nobody's playing well. Their pitching's not great. Their offense isn't great. Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run during all this, but Giancarlo Stanton's hitting under 200 on the season. Of course, Judge still recovering. He's recovering faster than the crack at Dodger Stadium that he created there, being, Superman and all. Second game, another great pitching performance. Patrick Sandoval comes back, and after having been so wishy-washy with his outings and really just being poor compared to below average most of his outings, pitches into the 8th inning, only gives up 2 hits and 1 run, which was a home run to Gleyber Torres. Mickey Moniak, 2-run home run, 3 RBIs, and the Angels take that one. And then once again, pitching in the final game of the series. Chase Silseth goes 5 2/3, strikes out 10, gives up 1 run on 4 hits. Shohei was hitless in that game, but he walked 4 times.
Yeah.
It was Taylor Ward and Luis Rengifo. And Rengifo has really picked it up and started playing. He's really kind of showing what we saw from him last year and contributing quite a bit. Between the two of them, they drove in 5 runs to lead the way. Each one of them had a home run. They faced Carlos Rodon, who didn't look good at all. 6 runs and 6 hits. The Angels put up deuces in the first 3 innings, and then 1 more in the 8th, and that's how they ended up winning that one. Get the sweep. Now everything kind of looks different. The problem is, even though they gained a little bit on the Yankees, they didn't really gain anything on anybody else in front of them. Houston, Boston, Toronto, right. All these teams they were winning too. Or when they did win, they got back over 500. They did put themselves in a position where the guys are starting to play. And Shohei's even been quoted when he's asked about trade. He goes, I don't know anything about that. It's not I'm not in control. I want to win, and I want to win with this team. There it is. You just go from there. Whatever happens later happens. But right now my focus is winning with the team I'm on. He didn't say, I want to always be an Angel. I want to be like Mike Trout and be an Angel forever. He said, I want to win with this team.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Plus he has how many home runs now?
He leads the league with 36.
Yeah. So, he's got a lot of things that he's more concerned about. Right.
Like pitching better. We'll talk about that in a second. The Pirates come to town. So the Pirates, which started off so great, are now in a position that they said we're sellers now. And honestly, a lot of people have been talking about that with the trade deadline stuff with the Angels, is that they should be sellers. Well, all I think that they should do is they should look at what's going to make our team better. Whether we buy, whether we sell, what's going to make our team better so that we can compete this year and next year and just keep getting better. Not you want short-term and long-term. But at this point, anything can happen. You're only 4 or so games out of the wild card. You've got to attack that and just play the best baseball you can. No more of this. We're not chasing wins every night. Every win is important because the teams in front of them are not losing either. Not that often. And they have to, when those other teams lose, they have to pick it up. So the Pirates come in. Shohei are on the mound the first night. Goes 6 1/3, gives up 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 of those courtesy of the home run ball. And they did say it was more of just not a problem because he's been dealing with a problem with his finger, a cracked fingernail and a blister. Not an issue there. It was more that he just left pitches up in the zone and the hitters got to him. 2 of them from rookie Henry Davis, who, hey, if you're selling, we could be buying.
Yeah, exactly.
Henry Davis. Jack Sawinski took one out, and my man G-Man Choi also with a home run. So not a great night there. However, it didn't matter because the Angels walk away with an 8-5 win. Mike Moustakas, Taylor Ward, Trey Cabbage, and Zetto all with home runs. Moose 3 RBIs and Taylor Ward with 2 RBIs to help lead the way there. Game 2, Detmer's on the hill, just goes 5 innings, strikes out 9 though, and they end up losing this one. Although David Bednar, their closer, the Pirates closer, did try to give it back to the Angels, but the Angels didn't want it.
Yeah, they said no, thank you. It's okay.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it, but no. He had walked 2, hit 1 by a pitch, and got saved by a game-ending double
They said
play.
Phil Nevin said we are not catching this win tonight. So
No, we're not chasing it, so don't catch it.
Yeah.
So they wrapped up on Sunday game. Zetto scratched at the last minute due to some back issues. It sounds like he's okay. Just a little soreness there. Out for a couple of games. We'll see when he comes back. Hopefully, it doesn't end up being a Rendon list issue.
Yeah, hopefully not.
There, Tyler Anderson on the hill. For Tyler Anderson, didn't look too bad. Went 6 innings.
Yeah.
Gave up 8 hits, 4 runs, struck out 5. The Angels scored 7 runs in the 6th inning, or 6 innings, over 6 innings, and 4 of those coming in the 5th. And they had a good lead, and then they let Pittsburgh score 4 in the 7th. Mitch Keller, who started for the Pirates, gave up 3 home runs. And then Tyler Anderson gave up a home run to Brian Reynolds. Probably I guess him and McCutcheon are probably 2 of the better players on the team, as far as they paid a lot of money to keep Brian Reynolds around. Carlos Santana had a couple of RBIs, not the Carlos Santana who was named one of the 20 best guitarists of all time.
What? Not that guy?
No, he's not. Carlos Santana, who's like 70 now, was not playing first base for the Pirates. Great game. We talked about Shohei's 36 home run. This is when he hit it. Back-to-back homers from Squid. Andrew Velasquez hit his first of the season, and Luis Rengifo followed up with one of his own, and then an inning later, Luis Rengifo would hit another one. And they ended up holding on to the game 7-5. So they end up having a really good overall, homestand with they won 6 of the games that they played. Won 2 of the series, only losing the one to the Asterix, which those are series they have to win. They have to win against the guys that are in front of them.
That's right.
And with that, they're going to have to deal with one of the teams that is in front of them on this upcoming road trip. They've got Detroit, then Toronto, who is in front of them, and then they got to go to Atlanta. So it's going to be crazy. Real quick note before we talk about anything else here. David Fletcher, once again, outrighted to Salt Lake City, and thought process is this is probably his last time being sent down like that.
It seems like it. Yeah, because he came back. He was excited to be back. Really, it seemed like, look at me, I got this. And then he just went back to his old ways.
Yep, back to normal. So that's probably it. Mentioned that Rendon on there. We also saw Sam Bachman out of the bullpen. Is out as well. So the question will be now, how long does it take for Mike Trout to heal? At this point, he's waiting on his wound to heal from the surgery before he can start. He says he's working out, as far as doing all conditioning kind of stuff like that to be in baseball shape. He can't swing the bat. He can't do certain things because it's not the wound is not fully healed. But he wants to get going as soon as he possibly can, but he's not going to push it. If it takes a little longer, it takes a little longer. He doesn't want to, have an issue with that. Jose Ramirez from the Indians last year did it in a month. Yeah, so there's others that have took 2 full months.
Yeah, so it's doable, and that should be his focus.
Right. Yeah, we just want him to come back so that he's at 100% before. And then that's the question now. With the trade deadline, a lot's going to happen. I think all trade deadline issues will be have to be solved by the beginning of the Toronto series. you can't wait till Atlanta because you'll be in the trade deadline while you're in Atlanta.
Right.
They need to know what they're going to do and who, because potentially Brandon Drury, he's tradable. As far as being, and somebody else that they're trying to work back in who's been on the IL, will him coming back help push them up? He was doing well before before the All-Star game. Can he help there? I don't think they're going to trade Shohei.
I don't either.
I just don't. I don't see that happening. The other guy that they're talking about potentially trading, Carlos Estevez, because they can get more out of him than they can. So what else? Who knows? So the trade deadline, I don't know what they're going to give up or who they're going to try to get, but they definitely need to get some pitching. And they definitely need, maybe another bat or two. They need to, these guys are coming up, but you need a constant at, maybe another outfielder. I don't know, but pitching for sure. But everybody needs pitching.
Everybody needs pitching.
So with that, who was your player of the week?
I went with Zach Neto this week. As I was just going through the box scores, I know there's some other guys I probably could have picked, but for some reason, you know how sometimes a name will just come out at you, and his just kind of kept coming out. I mean, he hit in every game that he played in, except for one where he was 0 for 5, but he still had an RBI because he probably had like a sac fly or
Right.
He contributed every time coming back. So, I just went with, for whatever, for that reason. And like I said, his Zeto, it was like, 3D coming off the page at me.
All right. That's reasonable. Just back off of the IL to start the All-Star game or All-Star break after the All-Star break, and already getting the player of the week. Nice.
Yeah.
My player of the week is kind of a collective thing. I gave it to the starting pitching staff.
Nice.
Because over this homestand, with the exception of the hiccups in that first series versus Houston, they really pitched well. In the last 6 games there, they had a really good, even Shohei, with giving up those home runs, overall pitched pretty well. He just, things like that happen sometimes, but he still went 6 1/3 and struck out 9, which helps take off some of the pressure off of the bullpen. Speaking of the bullpen, one more note, Jimmy Herget, who had big moments last season, couple of moments this season, back in Salt Lake. So there's a few guys there's a couple guys that were in. I didn't even know who they were watching games this last week because I didn't notice that they had sent somebody down and called these guys up. So anyway, like I said, Detroit, Toronto, and then Atlanta as we reach the trade deadline coming up. So next week we'll have a better idea of what the Angels end up doing.
Will they do anything? I don't know.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
This is the case quite often. The Dodgers and the Angels move in different directions. So going into the All-Star game, the Dodgers put together a pretty decent win streak. While they didn't have as many things they had to deal with coming out about where are we going to sell? They already know that at the trade deadline, they're going to be buyers. They're probably going to the playoffs unless there's a major collapse. So their futures and their future plans are a little better situated than other teams. So, they come out and right away, honestly, they have what could be a cupcake series based on how this team is playing in the Mets. They also are going to be taking on, after the Mets, 2 of the best teams in baseball. So it's like, let's get fat off of what we can do to the Mets and then focus in on these next two series. They head to Citi Field, and for their extended road trip, three different series on the road. Julio on the mound at the first thing out of the break. We know he's had problems in the past. Did he have problems to start?
No, he looked great. He said the vacation's over. He goes 6 innings, gives up a hit, no runs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. So it's like, oh, this is the Julio that we all know and love. He's back. He had been, missed almost like the whole month of June with the hamstring, and he looked really good.
This is also the Julio that Julio wants to see.
Yeah.
Going into a free agent year.
Yeah, because so
right
far
now, he's not
great.
doing himself any favors.
No, not at all. He has. After this game, the Dodgers won the first game against the Mets 6-0. He had a 4.35 ERA. So, another good outing that gets lowered. Another, he's on the road. We'll see.
Now,
But,
Justin Verlander, last year's Cy Young Award winner, on the hill versus him. He gives up 2 hits and 3 runs, strikes out 6, but he also walks 6. So that doesn't help things. It was Trevor Gott who was the only one to not give up any runs to the Dodgers that night. Freddie Freeman, of course, continues on his tear. JD Martinez, James Outman, even
2 for 2 with the double.
Couple of hits. And then something that I was looking at, we all get like kind of weird about Max Muncy. He's only batting, just under 200. He's been somewhere between 189 and 198 for the most part. Pete Alonso is batting 208. Those two guys have in common, they're both in the top 10, 12 of the league in home runs.
Yeah. I know it's weird to see the amount of home runs that Max has hit, and Pete Alonso for that matter, and then look at their batting average because you think it would be higher, but there's a lot of strikeouts in there too.
Yeah, there is. But when you look at it, Max Muncy has been an overall a decent defender. His OPS plus is 117, so he's 17% above average. Average is 100. But when you watch him, you think he must be below average. He's not.
Yeah, and
so
I get, it's like, Max, what's going on? Because it's not the Max of old, I guess. But then he has like a spark, and you're like, oh.
Right. He goes on a tear for a little bit, but he just doesn't sustain it. If he could just be a little more consistent with that, I think people would be fine with him. Dodgers set a trend on this road trip. Every series, they did it exactly the same. So game 2, they pick up a win. Tony Gonsolin. I realized that once again, it seemed like he was pitching okay, but they pulled him out in the 5th inning.
Yeah, they've been doing that quite a bit. I think there's only in his most recent starts where he's gone 6 innings. But otherwise it's 5. And then
92 pitches already.
Yeah.
I wonder if we went back and looked, if it's because he's just throwing a lot of pitches all the time.
Yeah, it probably, that would make sense.
Anyway, this one was, they were taking on the ghost fork of Kodai Senga. Mookie hits a home run and goes 4 for 4 with 1 walk. So it was his game. Senga only gave up that 1 run to Mookie. It was Grant Harwig who gave up the rest. They closed out the series with Bobby Miller on the hill. And honestly, that one was kind of more of a bullpen game, even though Bobby Miller started it.
Yeah, Bobby Miller only goes 4 2/3 innings, gives up 3 hits, 1 run, and then had 5 strikeouts. The bigger question, though, is Austin Barnes was catching in this game. And it seems like every time he plays, the Dodgers lose. And we'll see that in this series because he pitched in this last game against the Mets. Dodgers lose 2-1.
He caught.
He caught, and he goes 0 for 2. Smith came in later, and but he also was 0 for 2. But they had Max Scherzer on the mound, and I think maybe he had a little extra fire.
Probably 7 innings, 1 hit, 6 strikeouts. It does go to Zinnings, and but the Dodgers lose that one. But they walk away with a series win, and they head down to Baltimore. And Baltimore has been on fire. They are right now the best team in the American League. They hold the best record. We haven't talked about it because most everybody's talking about Shohei, but Tampa Bay has been falling off.
Yep.
We'll talk about that coming up. But so the Orioles have just been pretty much unstoppable. Their problem, though, like a lot of teams, they have pitching problems.
Everybody has pitching problems. Now, in this game, I think it's his first game, I tweeted you. I texted you, and I said, these are not the Orioles of old, what we're used to with the Orioles, because it looked like for a little bit that the Orioles were going to take this game. The Dodgers do end up winning this game 6-4. Emmett Sheehan is on the mound. He guys 5 innings and gives up 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, and only has 2 strikeouts. Does give up a home run, and he's been shaky. He had the great, that first great outing where he had a no-hitter going. And ever since then, maybe the second outing, and then ever since then, he's kind of just fallen off, like maybe he's not quite settled. And that's what it seemed like here.
You could thank Chris Taylor for the win in this one with a grand slam to put the nails in the Orioles' coffins. And they do live, though, to play another day. Game 2. We see Michael Grove, who's looked better as of late.
Yeah, he has looked, I think I always watch, when I look at the pitchers, do they look comfortable on the mound? Do they look stressed? And he does look like he looks better, because I think in previous outings, when he gives up a hit or, there's guys on base, he looked like he was stressed, and maybe he's easing into it, getting used to, don't worry about that. Get the guy out at the plate. He does go 5 innings, which seems to be the common thing for Dodger starters. 5 innings, gives up 5 hits, but only 1 run, has 4 strikeouts. And that's the thing is, at the beginning of the season, we're talking about the bullpen, and we need help in the bullpen. And now the bullpen has come in and has been doing an excellent job, doing great. And our rotation, of course, we have Kershaw out. He hopefully will be back in, beginning of August. But now we've got the focus has shifted from bullpen to the starting rotation.
Every pitcher who was an opening day starter has been on the IL.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how that's worked out. For the second day in a row, Freddie Freeman has 3 hits. Jason Hayward with 3-run home run in that game. And we go to Julio Day.
We don't want to see Julio. We don't want to see Julio Day.
No, apparently not. He's going up against the Orioles starter, Dean Krimmer. Yeah. Well, how about this? Max had a home run. James Outman had a home run, but none of that helped Julio.
And once again, Austin Barnes is catching. So is this catching, losing when he's playing? Julio. Now, one thing about this game, and I don't know if it had any effect on him, but it had rained overnight and the grounds crew at Camden Yards didn't think ahead because they didn't tarp the field the night before. So the field was wet, and so the game was delayed. I don't know if that had anything to do with Julio's performance, but he never looked comfortable. He had, when he originally came out, he had sleeves, took those off because he looked hot, and I can only imagine if it had rained and then you got the humidity, it's not comfortable. But he goes 5 innings, gives up 8 hits, 8 runs. In fact, he gives up all of the runs. Had 2 walks, only 2 strikeouts, did give up a home run, and his ERA is up to 5 after this game.
Yeah, not a good game. Most runs he's ever given up, all at one time. So all of them were there. They drop it 8-5, and once again, they win 2 of the 3 in the same fashion. Win the first 2, drop the third one, just like they did in New York. So let's see. It's now time to go to Texas to play at the Grill.
Will they do the same?
The scene of their last World Championship.
Yeah, they played there 2020. They must be comfortable there. There's a huge Dodger contingent. There's a group called Pantone 294 that they do group tours, I guess. They pick different cities and they just go in mass, usually in the outfield. And so it was, the players said it was really loud in there. And I think a lot of that had to do with the Dodger fans. There were a lot of Dodger fans, not just the Pantone, but people coming out. General. Yeah.
So they're taking on the Rangers, best offense in baseball. Coming off of a sweep of both Tampa Bay and Cleveland. And who knows what they're going to do. We're going to see a couple of former Dodgers in this series. One who's been having a great season so far in Corey Seager. And first game out, we're going to face somebody that was on the mound for the Dodgers last year. And that would be Andrew Heaney,
yes,
who started for the Rangers, went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, a home run through 72 pitches. And he was going up against Tony Gonsolin.
Yeah, Tony Gonsolin, once again, he only goes 5 innings, gives up 2 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, had 6 strikeouts and a home run. What was this pitch count on this one?
92.
92, right? So I don't know how Mark Pryor, how they work with the pitchers to get, it's got to be, I think he needs to be more efficient. I mean, I think that's like a no-brainer, but it comes down to if he's going to go longer, pitch longer into the game, he has to be more efficient in his pitching. But the Dodgers do win this game 11-5. It was just a hit parade for, I think everybody had a hit.
Yep, led by Freddie Freeman, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs, 3 runs, 2 walks. Will Smith, 2 for 5. JD, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. And Mookie had 2 RBIs in this.
Yeah, and within this game, Johnny DeLuca started in center field, and he made 2 amazing catches and didn't realize that that's kind of part of his resume, he's kind of like Spider-Man and he catches these balls. And the funny thing is that he did these 2 outstanding defensive plays, and then he gets benched and Outman goes in for him.
Yeah, it's been weird how Doc has done that a few times this year. Somebody's done good or had a few good at bats, and then he takes them out and puts in somebody else that seems questionable.
Yeah, because he, he was DeLuca was 1 for 2 when he was at the plate, and then like I said, he had those 2. I mean, they were just amazing catches. So I don't
Game
know. I mean,
2 of this series is probably the highlight of it all. Once again, Freddie Freeman on fire. 2 home runs in this game. Over the first 4 innings, the Dodgers would score 10 runs.
yeah, it was just crazy. I mean, Max Muncy obviously loves the grill. He went 3 for 5, had 2 RBIs, had a home run. So,
and there was talk. I don't remember when was it because Tony Bennett passed away, and they were during Dodger batting practice. They were playing Tony Bennett over, I believe it was for Sunday's game, over the
PA system.
Over the PA system. Thank you. And they were like, are they trying to get into his head? They're trying to rattle the Dodgers. And somebody said, no, this is perfect because Max will think he's in San Francisco.
Right. That's perfect. Yeah, I like that. Now, one thing that you saw during this Texas series is a new Dodger celebration for extra base hits. And it all goes back to Freddie Freeman. The Dodgers have a Dodgers Foundation, and every year they have a big gala. This year, Usher performed, and there's video of Freddie with his hands up, kind of, swaying, but they're all the way up.
He threw his hands in the air, and he potted like he just don't care.
That's right. Well, that is the new extra base hit celebration. They do it in the dugout, and it was really funny because I guess they had been, Max Muncy's daughter turned 2, and they had a big party, and a lot, most of the team was there, and they had been wanting to do this for a long time. And I guess Freddie's like, all right, you can do it. So sometimes, some of them are kind of put their hands up, but then you have others, like Mookie Betts, who does it, I think, the best. Jason Hayward too. He's, he didn't look too bad, but Mookie definitely. So, but that was fun because they were relaxed, especially during this second game, because they won 16-3.
Yeah. So, and they were having fun with it. Even Will Smith cracked a smile.
Yeah, which that's something. And Bobby Miller was on the mound. He does much better in this game. 6 innings, 7 hits, gives up 3 runs, but had 6 strikeouts, no walks. Does give up a home run, but does look better. And the bullpen with Yancy Almonte and Phil Skip Bickford coming in to help. But yeah, I mean, this was an awesome game. It was just, the hit machine. And then the Dodgers do what they did in the last 2 series.
There was a big difference, though. In the 2 games before, the Rangers were wearing their mythical creature uniforms.
Yes, that's right.
And in this one, they went to their Sunday powder blue Ranger uniforms.
Yes. And that must have been the kryptonite.
It must have been, but I would think that in the first inning, the Rangers were probably thinking, man, not again.
Right.
Thanks to Max Muncy.
Yeah. Gets up and hits a grand slam. The Dodgers have the most grand slams. They lead the MLB with the most grand slams. It's like 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't know. But no, it's it's a lot. And yeah, so you're thinking automatically 4-0, but that would be it. That's the end. Emmett Sheehan is on the mound once again, struggles, only goes 3 2/3 innings, gives up 8 hits, 8 runs, 5 walks, and has 4 strikeouts. And Outman was 0 for 3, kind of going back to his old ways. But Mookie, Freddie, Will, CT3, even Johnny DeLuca was 2 for 4. But who was catching?
There we go again.
Austin Barnes.
Right. So what's going on with that? The other thing that you alluded to earlier that seems to be, showing as true again, Sheehan, complete disaster, gives up all 8 runs. Bullpen shuts down the Rangers for the rest of the game.
Yeah. So it's just the reversal of we were bemoaning the bullpen at the beginning of the season, and now we are, what's going on with starting pitching, who's going to be back. Syndergaard has been on a rehab assignment, but has not
Looking terrible.
He's looking, he has, nothing has changed for him. He has no Zen. It's gone. Like I said, Kershaw's on the IL. Julio, we don't know what's going on with him. And it's like hit and miss. You just don't know what you're going to, even with Bobby Miller and then Emmett Sheehan. But this is the interesting thing, is when you hear the trade talks, I guess maybe it's because everybody needs pitching. The only time I've heard a pitcher that was maybe connected, maybe there's something there, Lucas Giolito, which I had mentioned on our last episode before our break, that he would be a good pickup for the Dodgers. You haven't heard anything about that. But I guess maybe those are the type of trades that you don't hear about until,
and it's
59.
Hard, right. It's hard to gain any traction when everybody's wondering what's going to happen with Shohei. And of course, the Dodgers are a really, they're big in this, but it makes no sense. By the way, Dodgers did lose that. So they won 6, lost 3, but they did it. They won the first 2 and dropped the third one in all of them, but maintain their pace, because lucky for them, both Zona and San Francisco having issues, falling back. San Francisco's like on an unreal losing streak there for a while.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they've been helped out, but it's just funny that in all of those 3 games that they lost, the conspiracy theorists are out there. It's Austin Barnes.
Austin Barnes.
And you don't know. I mean, he's been a good catcher, but then that also leads you to think, okay, would they pick up a catcher? Would that be somebody, that be a position that they probably need? Because if you're looking at the stats, they don't look so good for Cuz, unfortunately.
Nope. That's for sure. Small sample size, though, overall, because he's not played a whole lot.
Yeah.
But that would be a good thing. Of course, all of it, like we said, has centered around Ohtani. And a lot of that talk is that the Dodgers could be the spot. But what do the Dodgers do? Right now, there's no room for Ohtani other than to be a pitcher only. And then you miss the bigger part of his game. Or are you going to trade your all-star DH for another all-star DH? And what could that do to throw off the chemistry of the team? JD Martinez has proven himself and is a big part of this Dodger team.
Right. And I think the Dodgers, this team has such a good chemistry. If you really look at them, it's in the dugout. They they're hanging out, when they're not playing, they're supporting one another in different things. And I think that's a good point, because you don't want to damage that and bring somebody in, of course, but they're not going to get Shohei in a trade, because Artie Moreno already said he's not trading Shohei to the Dodgers.
Right. So he'll lose him potentially to the Dodgers in the offseason, as long as I didn't do it.
Right.
I can't stop Shohei. But anyway, so the trade deadline, we know they're going to go after pitchers. We don't know how aggressively. Is it Lucas Giolito? Is it anybody else? There's a lot of other pitchers they could go after. Who would they target? Also, what else will they target? I had thought, hey, you know what? Henry Davis, he's a rookie, but he's a right-hand bat, and he's an outfielder. Put him out there. And thing is, though, is that right now I feel like, where are we going to put these people?
Right, yeah.
Because
that's the
Hayward
other thing.
and Peralta, the thing is, both of them are left-handed bats.
Yeah, I think that's the thing they're probably looking at, too. So, I don't know. It's just interesting with the Dodgers. They had a good road trip, but they lost all 3 of those, the last game of those series, on a win streak. And then they had help because, like you said, the D-backs were losing, the Giants were losing, the Padres are, who knows what they're doing, and then in Colorado.
So we're pretty sure that the the Dodgers are going to make some trades. We just don't know what or who. There's options. And because of their system, it's more likely than a lot of other teams they're going to get somebody they want. And there's a lot of talk about even Nolan Arenado would waive his no trade clause coming to the Dodgers. The question then is, how do you work all that out? Because then you put Arenado in at third base. Does Max go to the bench or does Max go to second where he's played? And then what about Mookie? Does Mookie go to short more often to play if he's going to play in the infield? Those are the things that'll be interesting to see. Are you going to create more problems? You get those, but do you pass up a chance at Arenado? I don't know. That's
And
tough.
then would Arenado be, is he going to be somebody? I mean, obviously he's a good third baseman. We all know that. But is he going to be a bust? Like Manny Machado was a huge bust.
Right.
And, but I don't know. I mean,
Tell him that would be it. The other thing is, do they go after a shortstop or do they continue to ride Miguel Rojas? There's so many different options. They really got it. But pitching obviously is the one thing. If they make no other changes, they're probably okay. Pitching is what they need to really focus on.
Yes.
They go back to the Ravine. They have 3 series. They're going to be welcoming in the Blue Jays, following by Ellie De La Cruz and the Cincinnati Reds, who are kind of middling out a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about them when we get to Around Baseball. And then Oakland will be coming to the Ravine. Who's your player of the week?
So I always feel like I go kind of with the same people, the same players, it's Mookie or it's Freddie. And this time I went with strictly based on these defensive plays because I love watching them. I just went with Johnny DeLuca. I don't know. I just thought I'm going to just go off the rails and I'm just going to go with the 2 defensive plays that he made. And go with him for player of the week.
Air on both of them to make pretty spectacular catches. It's pretty incredible. A diving catch on one, and then a nice, well-timed jump on another one. So yeah, you're right. Those were pretty good. I unfortunately did not do that, or not unfortunately. I went with the guy who really is the MVP and has been most of the season, and that's not Mookie, even though he's had his moments. It's Freddie. Freddie, There's no way around it. Freddie went into the weekend in the top, the top 3, number 2, I think, in the National League, number 3 in all of baseball with a 331 average, is the first Dodger ever to have 20-plus home runs and 35-plus doubles before August. And he is the only player in history ever to have that 20-plus homers, 35-plus doubles, 125 hits, 10 stolen bases, and 40 walks. Nobody in baseball history has ever done that before August.
Yeah,
so he's just been tearing it up. And right now, everybody keeps saying Ronald Acuna Jr., which obviously you can't debate that too much as being the MVP. But no, Freddie has really made it a point to be in that conversation.
Yeah, and he does it in a way that obviously people are paying attention to Freddie Freeman, don't get me wrong, but he's not flashy about it. He just plays ball. I like that.
All right, Bullpen Cart has gotten all charged up, had a couple of days off, new tires on there, got some sporty rims because I've been watching that Hot Wheels challenge. So, trying to make something different out of the Bullpen Cart.
Yeah, we put a racing stripe on there too.
That's right. And a big monster face on the front. Anyway, as usual, let's take a look at the MLB's Players of the Week.
All right, we'll start off with the American League Player of the Week, and that would be Minnesota Twins first baseman and outfielder Alex Kirilloff. and this is his first career selection and is the first Minnesota player to win the award since Byron Buxton won it last year in June. He hit .345. He was 10 for 29 with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 3 walks, 5 runs scored, a .793 slugging percentage, and a 1.187 OPS. And then for the National League Player of the Week, we head to Atlanta and third baseman Austin Riley. He picked up his 3rd career weekly honor. He won previously in July of 2022 and May of 2021. He's the 4th different Braves player to win this award this season, joining Sean Murphy, Michael Harris II, and Ronald Acuna. He hit .400 over the week, was 10 for 25 with 6 home runs, 16 RBIs, 9 runs scored, 1 double, 1 triple, a 1.240 slugging percentage, and a .400 on-base percentage. He led the National League in home runs, RBIs, total bases, extra base hits, and he ranked 2nd in slugging, 3rd in OPS, and tied for 6th in batting average and hits. And he also matched an Atlanta franchise record with home runs in 5 straight games from Tuesday through Saturday, becoming the 10th different Braves player with homers in 5 consecutive games.
Big weeks for both of those guys for sure.
Yes. And I didn't mention this, but I'll mention this real quick because he is he became the 3rd Braves player with 16 RBIs over a 6-game stretch, tying Hall of Famer Eddie Matthews and Joe Adcock for the franchise record.
So coming out of the break, really not a lot of series that were like of significance towards any particular race, with the exception of Angels and the Asterix with the wild card, and then Milwaukee and Cincinnati, who have kind of been battling back and forth for a while for the lead there in the Central. Milwaukee swept Cincinnati in that first series, and now early this week, they're playing again. So coming out of that, who knows, maybe the Brewers will gain some kind of a big advantage, or will they just play back to like a 500, tie there together? Both of them are, well, they're both over 500 far enough that, but how will this continue? Will one get an advantage over the other one through this? Obviously tiebreakers, you want to win the most, win the season series. So we'll see how that goes. That was one. And then also this week, the Rangers and the Asterix, which is not such a big deal as far as the American League West goes, in that who cares? You really want the Rangers to win if you're an Angel fan, because that helps, push the Asterix down and out of it.
Right.
And the Asterix are looking to get Altuve back, so we'll see if that makes any difference. And then how much longer after that till Yordan Alvarez also returns from the IL. So coming out of, things seem to be kind of set for so long in the standings. Tampa Bay had been on top of the AL East, had been the best team in baseball. Somewhere along there, Atlanta picked it up and started doing things. And in that too, probably one of the most consistent teams has been Baltimore. Baltimore now holds a 4.5 game lead over Tampa Bay. And Tampa, well, everybody's been focused on Shohei. Tampa's been quietly losing game, and nobody really seems to care, does it?
Yeah, they've just fallen off. It's like the Rays. Who are the Rays? And why do we care where they were at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, best thing the Rays could do is they could go get Ohtani.
They could. The only team I've heard that is not interested, or maybe they're interested, but they're not going to do anything, is the Royals.
Yeah, probably not. No, although I think he'd look good in that blue. Because he looks good in the Dodger blue, and the Royals are pretty close in the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Baltimore now, up on top of the American League East and the American League in general, to go back to that. If the season ended today, Baltimore and Texas have the and that's not a surprise in the American League, but they have the bye weeks or the bye series. Minnesota, right now it'd be Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Houston, and Toronto. Boston and New York are right there, and they're tied as of the weekend. Even with the Yankees kind of been losing there, they're still hanging in there. And the Angels right behind them. Them and Seattle had been going back and forth, but Seattle's playing 500 ball. They win one, they lose one. They'll win three, they lose three. They're constantly at 500. As of the weekend, they were one game over. Everybody else after that are all below 500. So the question is, who's going to be selling? Can the Tigers, who are 9.5 games out, put something together? Or should they sell on Michael Lorenzen? And should they let Eduardo Rodriguez go? Those are two pitchers that, really, we've talked about, Lucas Giolito. Dylan Cease's name has popped up. Lance Lynn came up the other day, who's not having a great season, but still, somebody might take a chance with him, hoping that change of scenery might help him out. After that, Kansas City and Oakland, they don't really have too much that they can give up unless you want maybe Zach Greinke.
Yeah, but I don't know who really wants him at this point.
And then in the National League, Atlanta and the Dodgers maintain their spots at the top. Milwaukee currently, depending on what happens between them and Cincinnati. Cincy, Arizona, and San Francisco all are the current wild cards. But Philly and Miami, and now see, Miami was really putting something together, and then they went on a losing streak. And I wanted to mention, too, about Miami, Kim Ng. She's doing a good job down there. You forget about her. Everybody talks about Andrew Friedman all the time, or certain, but she's quietly putting together a team with some decent pitching. They're definitely, in a position to be buyers going forward. They're only a half game out of the wild card, them and Philadelphia. And then the Cubs are 5.5 games out. And if they can keep playing, the talk of Stroman and Bellinger leaving may not be, it may have been a little too soon. Who knows? It depends on what happens starting this week.
Yeah. We could see, Bellinger definitely, his name's been coming up a lot because of how well he's doing. But again, is it going to translate to another city? Is he now feeling comfortable in the confines of Wrigley Field and just doing his thing? I don't know. I guess there's always that question, but if the Cubs, if they can continue to keep, getting on these win streaks, would they let either of them go?
Well, and Bellinger's playing for a contract. And what if he ends up staying in Chicago a little longer term? Does he become the same guy he was when he gets a little complacent there?
So maybe that's what he needs, is a different, he could be the jerk, I don't know, play for every team, whoever wants
Just needs something to keep him motivated, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we are starting to see some things start to shake out a little bit. The AL East is still the best. Everybody's still over 500. The Central is still the worst, with only Minnesota as of last weekend being over 500. Texas has been out front and pretty much stayed there. Atlanta, Milwaukee, and the Dodgers all in first place. And the Padres, just when you think, hey, maybe they'll turn it around, they don't. And from what I'm hearing is there's some issues in the Padres clubhouse. And there's
that doesn't surprise me.
Players that aren't really crazy about one another.
Yeah.
And, will Blake Snell want to get out of there? Will they trade away those guys when they're still, potentially, they're 10 games out of the West, but when it comes to the wild card standings, they are, just 6 games out. A good winning streak could put them right in the middle of the hunt for everything. And there's still enough time left. It's not like, hey, we're right at the end of it all. The one thing that's going to be an issue for any of these teams is if they have a bad run or some of their key players end up on the wheel of iron.
All right, let's take a look. We'll go, we'll go around. Diamondbacks place Zach Davies on the IL, a 15-day IL with a lower back inflammation. And so there's another pitcher down, just to throw that out there. And then a lot. So we've got AJ Minter of the Braves, who had shoulder issues, still on the IL, but is making rehab starts. Max Fried, who they had put on the 60-day IL, is also making rehab starts because of his forearm. And then you have Jesse Chavez, who was transferred to the 60-day IL because of his shin. I think he fractured his shin, so can't really do a whole lot there. But they have a lot of guys that are coming back, doing rehab, but they're doing extended rehab stints. Aaron Hicks of the Baltimore Orioles was put on the 10-day IL with a hamstring strain, but he expects to be back with the minimum of time. Cedric Mullins, we haven't seen him. He continues to be on the IL. He has a groin injury, but he doesn't know how long he's going to be sidelined, so that doesn't sound great. If he doesn't know, who knows? I don't know. I don't know. So, I mean, usually if a guy, you can use like, yeah, I feel good, or I feel, whatever. But not him. So, and I think a lot of times too, when we're looking through the IL, I think the All-Star break helped a lot of these guys because, we're not seeing as many. We are seeing some guys that have been on the IL, but that have been moved to the 60-day IL. Kurt Casale of the Cincinnati Reds, he's on the 10-day IL. But I have no idea why. I couldn't find that. So I don't know why. What's wrong with him?
He doesn't even know.
He doesn't know. I don't know. Shane Bieber of the Guardians, he's been transferred from the 15-day IL to the 60-day IL. And so, he has the elbow. And then Tristan McKenzie, we've mentioned him. He's also on the 60-day IL. He's going to be shut down at least for another 3 weeks. He had gotten that second opinion, but I think the second opinion pretty much was what the first opinion had said. And then Cal Quantrell, he's still on the IL. And most of these guys I mentioned, all starting pitching. So it all goes to my theory of the pitch clock. Is it doing some damage to these pitchers? Kyle Freeland has been on the 15-day IL with the shoulder injury, but it looks like he may start this week. Chris Bryant, once again on the 10-day IL, but he with a finger injury. Yordan Alvarez, he should be back in the lineup, but still in the 10-day IL with oblique. Same thing.
Oblique.
Same thing with Jose Altuve, who has been on the 10-day IL. Could also be activated this week after also suffering from an oblique.
Oblique.
You already mentioned Zach Neto.
With the bleak here and the bleak there. Oh, a bleak here, a bleak everywhere. Oh,
I
bleak.
tried to sneak it in. Zach Noto, as you mentioned, is been scratched from the lineup, with the back soreness. So he's not officially on the 10-day IL, but he is listed as day-to-day. Hopefully, it's something they can work out, and he doesn't have to spend any time on the wheel. And Chris Stavinsky probably will be happy to hear he is on the 15-day IL with a hamstring injury. So you don't have to worry about him doing any damage. So you have to angry tweet, or is it tweet now? What do you do? Angry?
I don't know.
Xing?
X. I don't know.
I don't know either.
You're X'd.
Yeah. I mentioned Noah Syndergaard. Again, it's supposed to be like he has a blister on his finger. He's made, like I said, starts in AAA. But
got a blister. Got a blister.
Doesn't look good.
Got a blister. I got a blister. Got a blister. I got a blister on my finger, and I think my name's Rich Hill. Which maybe somebody could trade for Rich Hill.
Oh yeah, that's
Why not?
true.
Get him out of Pittsburgh.
Get him out of there. Get him out. Tommy Pham, your favorite New York Met DH, is and also plays left field sometimes.
Potential trade bait.
That's right. He is listed as day-to-day with a groin injury, and Starling Marte has been put on the 10-day IL with migraines. So, and I think there was one game when they played the Dodgers where he was out with a stomach issue, and then the next day he was there. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, if he was having a migraine, and because some people do get sick when they have the migraines. Aaron Judge, again, is still on the 10-day IL, but he is down in Florida, hoping to come back. Josh Donaldson has been transferred to the 60-day IL. He's been diagnosed with a high-grade strain, small tear in his right calf, and there is no timetable for a return, and I don't think that the Yankees fans really care.
He's at the end of his contract, and even he's saying, I may retire.
Yeah, which, that probably, he's just one of those guys that, Jose Trevino, he is on the 10-day IL. His wrist injury will require surgery, and he is expected to miss the remainder of the season. So, good guy, like Jose, out of the Yankees lineup there, but and probably
out of Oral Roberts.
That's right. Exactly. There's not a whole lot. Like I said, most of the guys, I know I've named off some guys, but for the most part, Brandon Crawford has an inflamed left knee. He's been on the 10-day IL, I think since the All-Star break, or was put on right after the All-Star break. But a lot of the guys, there's just, I think that the All-Star break helped with some of these guys, and a lot of them have been on the IL, so they're on the 60-day IL, so they have been spinning around for quite a while. I do totally forgot about this guy, and I shouldn't have. Corey Seager. In the series, I think it was a Saturday game against the Dodgers, he slid into second. When he came up, he ran right back to the dugout, and he has a sprained right thumb, and he is on the 10-day IL. So we'll see how that affects the Rangers. That's really it. A lot of these guys have been spinning and spinning and spinning, and nobody knows when they're going to stop.
It never stops. The wheel of IL never stops for no man.
No.
You just hop on there. It doesn't, And when it's time for you to go, you have to time your jump accordingly, or you end up going back on. The wheel of IL.
I guess with the exception of, as a Dodger fan with Clayton Kershaw, But there really aren't the guys, like I said, Chris Sale, they've been on the IL, that his name just came, but he seems to, I think, like the IL or the wheel. There's just not a lot. And then like for the Braves, if they can get, Max Fried back, how much better, are they gonna be?
That's
with
a good point.
Spencer Strider looking good, and then you get Max Fried back in that rotation. Yeah, so not as exciting, the wheel this week, but there's always next week to see who hops on.
So normally we don't look at players' love lives necessarily, but I saw something that I can't tell if it's true or not. But the other day when the Dodgers were playing the Mets, I noticed that Daniel Vogelbach was standing on the rail, and for a split second, I would have almost sworn it was Chris Farley. And then I heard a rumor that Daniel Vogelbach is dating Ariana Grande.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And I don't know. That is, do we need to fact check that? It says now this is TMZ. So, they're usually pretty good. Right?
Uh-huh.
According to them, Ariana Grande is now dating New York Mets heartthrob Daniel Vogelbach.
I was like, okay, number one, I don't really know anything about Ariana Grande. I know who she is. I know her name. I don't know her music. If you played it for me, I wouldn't know that was her. I would probably have more to say about Daniel Vogelbach if he could hit home runs for as big as he is. But he doesn't hit home runs. That just seemed to be, it's an odd pairing from the outside, but we've seen odd pairings before that have worked out. And, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be. It's like, who knows? I mean, good on him. But then there's a lot of, there are also the related searches. So if you put in his name and Ariana Grande, the related search is Daniel Vogelbach's wife, and she doesn't look anything like Ariana Grande.
Well, and she might be surprised to know if he is indeed married. I don't know if he is or not.
I don't know either.
If he is indeed married, then his wife was probably surprised to know that her husband is now dating Ariana Grande.
He's married. He got married January 2022, and he met his wife at a coffee shop where she worked. So, but this is interesting because it said they met at a coffee shop where she worked, but then another one says that he's married to a flight attendant. So I don't think that anybody knows.
Maybe he is dating. Maybe he's behind it all.
He is, yeah.
He's a man of mystery.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Who would have thought that Daniel Vogelbach, the man of mystery?
All right, unlike the Orioles ground crew, we're going to put a tarp on the field so that way it's ready to play on next time. We're going to park the bullpen cart and put a complete wrap on this episode. It's been fun. Next week we will be talking about all or none of the trades that happened. I think there'll be some surprising ones, and there'll be some that it's like, who?
Why?
What did that do?
Exactly.
So,
how does that help us?
Exactly. That's going to be the key. And every fan of every team will be saying that. How does that help us? In the meantime, take a look at our social media. We're on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
Check out our website, siblingrivalrybb.com, and don't forget the Fanatics links so that you can get apparently Tour de France gear. Who knew?
You can get everything. They get all kinds of stuff there. In fact, I think I saw a New Era, and I think you can get it on the Fanatics link also. You can get New Era caps there. And they have a new, coffee shop hats or something. They were like tiramisu. I don't know. But
I saw those.
They're like brand, kind of like a tan color. I think some logos look good. Some logos, not so much.
No.
But if that's your thing, go for it.
Alternatives are all there as well. Fanatics.com. Help out this podcast. All right. We will see you next week. Like I said, we'll be breaking down whatever happens at trade deadline, because unlike a lot of them, nothing is really clear this year other than the Dodgers are going to try to get pitching.
Along with every other team.
Right. So it's the soup line. Everybody's there at the soup kitchen. And what do they want? Soup. And they only want one flavor.
That's right.
Pitcher soup.
The pitcher soup. Not lobster bisque.
Nope. Pitcher soup. We'll see you next episode right here on the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. And don't forget to swing away.